Before you wire a single dollar into a commercial real estate deal as a passive investor, I just want you to stop, pause, pump the brakes, because the person you are investing with is going to be the difference between building real wealth, generating cash flow, protecting your capital, and also doing it passively, or the alternative, losing your shirt and experiencing a lot of pain along the way. So today, we're gonna break down the 7 key and critical questions every limited partner must ask and investigate before investing in any commercial real estate syndication or partnership. Let's protect your capital and let's grow it the right way. Hey, what's going on, guys? Matty here. Welcome back to another video to help you, active and passive investors, build serious wealth through commercial real estate. Now, if you are a passive investor, you're thinking about becoming one, learning how to vet a sponsor is one of the most important skills that you can master. So let's go ahead and walk through how to vet a sponsor, the 7 key questions every LP must ask. And you don't want to just invest in the deal. That's where I've seen a lot of people make big mistakes, but equally as important as the deal, if not even more important, is the sponsor, the operator, the person who's going to bring to life that nice juicy return that you're seeing on that paperwork. They actually need to actualize it and have the capacity to do it. So here is a list of questions that I want you to ask these individuals. And while it's always great to trust people and think that what you're getting at face value is true and accurate, I want you to verify. And these are some of the questions that can help you do that. Question number 1 is, what is your track record? I cannot tell you how many people got into the game in 2020, 2021 because it was easy. There was a lot of cash out there. There was a lot of money flying around at deals, and there was a lot of opportunity, right? And therefore, people were going in and raising funds, syndicating deals, but they didn't actually have the experience that was necessary to protect the investment, to capture the returns, and ultimately make it a great win for everybody. And this is probably one of the most important questions, right? This should be a baseline question. Have they done this before? How many deals have they closed? What asset types do they have experience with? What were the actual results versus what they projected or promised to investors? And a little bonus tip, ask for real case studies. Ask to ultimately see where their deals that have gone full circle have panned out, and a great operator will be more than happy to share that. They'll be happy and proud to show that they have done what they said they were going to do time and time again, which is ultimately going to add to their credibility. And don't just ask about the wins, ask, tell me about a deal that didn't go as planned, or how did you handle this scenario when it came up? These are going to be some great follow-up questions that ultimately can help you dive into a little bit more of the credibility and the experience of the operator and the syndicator or the partner that you're looking to partner with and invest your money with. Question number 2 is, who's on your team? Now, I don't ever consider myself the smartest, fastest, or strongest, but what I can tell you is I'm world-class at a couple great things that are key and important for my deals, and I surround myself with a great team who is world-class in all the areas that I am not. And no one succeeds in commercial real estate alone. So you want to know who handles what, right? Who handles acquisitions? Who handles the asset management? Who handles the investor relations? Who's going to handle construction or development if that's involved in the deal? Who handles the leasing? Who handles the taxes? Who handles accounting, right? Are they seasoned pros? Or is this a one-man show and the guy that you're going to, or girl you're going to invest with, is wearing every cap that is necessary? So a big red flag if the sponsor does everything themselves, right? I think that speaks for itself. Proceed with caution. However, if you can look at the entire team that is involved in a great investment opportunity and bringing that to life and actualizing those numbers, and they've got a track record, they've got expertise, and they've got experience and a good reputation, that is one great box that you can check and move forward to question number 3, which is, how do you communicate with your investors? Transparency in this game is everything. Whether things are going good, whether things are going bad, right? Whether it's somewhere in between, you really want to make sure that you have the transparency and the communication streams or lines open for you to have the necessary dialogue that you need as a passive investor to feel comfortable and confident with who you gave your dollars to. So ask how often they're providing updates. Is it going to be monthly? Is it going to be quarterly, right? What kind of reporting are you going to receive as a passive investor? And who do you call when you have questions? Now, a green flag, something that's positive, is sponsors who are responsive, right? They have a dedicated investor relations process in place. They've got a portal that you can access your documents or updates. And ultimately, it's somebody that's going to be overly proactive with their communication versus the person that you got to track down. I can't tell you how many sponsors and syndicators I'm hearing horror stories about that when things go bad, they put their head in the sand and all of a sudden you can't get a hold of them, right? You're sending email after email, and that is a recipe for disaster. You do not want to have to deal with that. So understanding how they communicate, being proactive in that, and just setting the proper expectations around that will be key in understanding what you can expect from the sponsor or the syndicator. Question number 4, how much skin in the game do you have? You want to make sure that there is alignment between your dollars and their dollars, right? Are they putting their own capital in the deal, or are they just maybe collecting fees like a lot of people did where, hey, you know what? I'm just going to get paid to, operate this deal, but if it goes sideways, no skin off my back. I made my money along the way, but I really don't have anything at risk. So these are important things. The ideal answer that you want to hear, right, is we invest our own money in every deal. We eat our own cooking. On the other side, if you hear alternatives or, responses that, hey, you know what, I'm going to use my fee in this deal to put it in, or I don't have any money in this deal at all, right? Those are things that may require further explanation because, hey, there might be a scenario or an answer where that makes sense. I've been in deals where I've got no money in the deal and my investor still won. I've been in other people's deals where that's been the case. I've also been associated or seen deals where they didn't have money in on the deal and it went sideways. And because they weren't aligned with the success of the deal or the capital stack in the deal, right? There's different incentives and urgency and sacrifices that operators and sponsors will or won't make depending on them having money in the deal. So of course, money in the deal is always a big thumbs up. The more money in the deal, the better. Question number 5. What's your exit strategy? This is really important, right? You need to know the business plan. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to be the expert and need to know all the nuances of the investment or the asset class. If you do, all the better, right? But understanding the business plan is key. Is this a quick flip? Is this a value add reposition that's going to take some time? Is this a long-term cash flow play that we're parking our money in, right? When and how do you get your capital back? At what stages of that timeline, right? What milestones need to be hit in order for those things to be achieved is really important for you to understand. I just want you to go into this opportunity, if you're going to be a passive investor, with eyes wide open, right? And kind of like a prenup, you want to ask all the questions and discern all of the potential risks and downsides, assuming that you'll never have to worry about them and they'll never happen. But if so, you guys already talked about it, discussed and planned, and you are going into this relationship understanding everything right out of the gate. So this is something that I always like to make sure investors understand because that's the expectation that we're going to set. I like to overpromise, right, of what the exit strategy is and when we'll hit it, right? What's the target hold period? What happens if the market shifts or we hit a recession? These are all things that you're going to want to talk about and address if you are a sponsor with your LPs or if you're an LP with your sponsors and the syndicators, because these are things that the more you can talk about up front and create that alignment, create that clarity, set the proper expectations with everybody going in on the same page, it's going to be a much better recipe for success than the alternative. Question number 6, What are the fees and the deal structure? This is really, really important because most passive investors oftentimes aren't as sophisticated as the sponsor or the deal operator. And oftentimes you'll see general partners and the sponsor fee a deal to death, where they're making all of their money based on fees. Now, don't get me wrong, fees aren't bad, but they must be fair. They must be warranted by the deal and still have it be something that's not going to be a drag or ultimately pull down returns for other investors. So you want to make sure that the fees and the deal structure is all in alignment with the collective goals that everybody's trying to achieve on both sides, as the general partner and as the limited partner. So asking about the acquisition fees, asking about the asset management fees, asking about what the waterfall or the promote structure schedule looks like. Is there a preferred return? How are the splits being structured, right? These are all really important things, and don't be afraid to ask them to walk you through the deal like you've never seen one before. Talk to me like I'm stupid, right? The best sponsors will gladly educate you, and all of their answers will make sense. And there's so many different ways that you can structure fees, structure waterfalls, structure the overall splits of a deal. All I'll say is, and ask comments down below if you have any questions on this or a specific deal scenario. We go over a lot of this inside the Wise Investor Collective Mastermind based on different deals, different places in the market, different capital stacks. There's a lot of variables in this recipe that you can still create a great end product, but there could be a lot of different ways that you put that together. So just know that this is something that you're going to want your sponsor to walk you through so that way you can fully understand the risks, also the upsides, and ultimately just how the deal is structured to make you feel more confident going into it. And question number 7 is, can I talk to other investors? Here's what I'll say. You might hear sponsors every once in a while say, I, for privacy reasons, can't do that, this or that. Let's just be honest. A great sponsor will happily connect you with current or past investors. If they hesitate or get defensive, right, or start coming up with excuses, to me, ultimately, that is a red flag. Because I can tell you that I am excited when somebody asks me that, because I've got dozens of people that I have made money, I have successfully navigated deals with, and ultimately, I want to have them talk to other potential investors to share their experience, knowing that it was a positive one. So when you speak with LPs, right, when you're talking with other LPs and other potential investors, right, you want to kind of ask them the same questions. Hey, how was their communication? And based on that answer, does it align with what that person just told you? Hey, were the distributions on time? How did the sponsor handle challenges if and when they came up, right? Based on what you're looking for, and really it's all about reputation. It's all about what they told you and if it actually aligns with what the results were or the experiences were with other people. These are going to be some key critical things that, again, trust what a good sponsor is telling you, but also verify it, right? And so I always like to go 3 wide and 3 deep. If I can talk to 3 investors that have been in 3 different deals, all the better. But if you can just talk with 3 investors that have invested with that individual, I think it's a great way to help you affirm what your gut is probably telling you after interviewing them and hearing the answers to their questions. So something that you can use to help make a decision around whether or not you feel comfortable with the investor that you're placing your capital with. And look, at the end of the day, you're not just investing in real estate. You really are investing in people, the team, the person, right? Their reputation. This is your hard-earned dollars. So don't be afraid to ask hard questions. And you got to make sure that you're asking the right questions. So trust your gut. As one of my favorite books always says, don't listen to your gut, obey your gut. And after you go through your due diligence process, you're going to be able to have a much more discerning and trustworthy decision based on how you feel. And know that never move forward unless you feel confident in the operator. So if you got value from this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment down below with any questions, comments, deal structures, your biggest LP lesson maybe so far. And if you want to dive deeper, don't forget to check out the Wise Investor Collective to be around other active and aspiring commercial real estate investors building wealth one property at a time. Also, know that we got lots of great tools and resources down for you below in the show description. I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.